Hey, welcome back to the channel. A little bit different video today. If you're new to the channel, I've been running an AFE piggyback on my Kona N. I'll link to the previous video of the install, but ended up mounting it using some 3M on the back as well as the battery handles as a way to hold it in place with some zip ties. It actually holds up really well, but I wanted to see if I could make something that was easier to remove and maybe a little bit of a cleaner install. Also in this video, I'll look to be upgrading certain parts of my K&N Intake as well as the Boomba blow-off valve that I run. So I found this battery cover online that's actually made for a VW Tiguan. It happened to be the same size as the Kona N battery. I got longer screws for the tuner and bought some L brackets to see how I could attach it to the cover. And then to attach to the battery, I was thinking to use the negative terminal cover and snap it onto the battery as a way to mount everything. So got the Scorcher mounted here onto the battery cover. A little wonky with the screws here, but maybe there could be a color matched. This is just what I had lying around. Alright, so the next step is figuring out how we can attach this to here. I was gonna figure out what you call it. Now I gotta go look it up. It's killing me.
1 hour later.
I don't know why I couldn't find this. I was gonna plastic weld it with some JB weld onto here, but until we can kind of situate it, I might just use some existing hardware and sort of figure out how I can mount this to the battery cover now that the Scorcher is attached. So I might need to use some of these brackets. We'll see. Okay, second hole is drilled here. Probably have to go back and clean some of these holes later. Let's see if we can add this screw and stack these up. Let's see if these holes line up. Boom. There it is. Now, to figure out what I'm gonna do with all these different color bolts, I might hit up Adam at Dropzone Customs to see if they can overlay maybe a carbon fiber finish and smooth this into one flat piece. Do need this cover open in order to kind of take a look at where I'm positioning things. So Adam, stay tuned. Might hit you up. Let's go test it on the car. It looks like it needs to go down a little further because it's not hitting the battery terminal connector with the plastic piece, so gotta adjust this. So went with a longer bolt here. To make this taller, just needed 2 of these guys to space out the terminal attachment. So it looks like it is attached. There's the click. I think just have it tucked away in there, being able to grab it and tuck it away and then close it up will be cool. So I have the fuse box cover at DZ Customs, getting some carbon fiber fabrication. So shout out to Adam, hit him up for any carbon fiber needs. But I also wanted to swap out some of the parts on my other mods, and I'll show you that now. So I wanted to swap out some of the hose fittings on the intake. This isn't a result of improving it per se, as since I take off the intake a lot for R&D, that what happened was it sort of ripped in half. I'll put a picture up on screen. The screw came loose, but shout out to Mike at K&N for supplying me with a new sort of fitting that connects to the hose. Again, the upgrade isn't to improve the quality of the product, and more so to help me or my negligence in removing the hose and not being so harsh with it that it ended up breaking. So I went with a sort of brass fitting here, or for the two fittings here, to swap out the two Barb fittings that are polyurethane or plastic here. So, you know, doing a lot of research, there were so many terminologies of like fittings, like Barbs and NPTs and AN, that it was hard to research to find these parts. So I'll put the information on this one. This is a 90-degree 1/4 NPT thread with a 3/8 Barb. If you are looking to swap out the same things, this one is a 1/4 NPT with a 1/2 Barb. So there you go. This one actually goes on this side. Will look like this. There you go. This one will go here. Pretty cool how it came out. Would have been nice if it was black, but kind of don't mind the switch up here. So let's see how this turns out. The next sort of upgrade is I ended up getting a silicone vacuum hose for this Boomba blow-up valve. I was a little rough with it again with the braided stock vacuum hose, so it looks a little sort of rough or cut. So in order to make sure that there's no leaks there, I'm planning to insert this piece here, so a 1/4 to 1/4 Barb connector. Again, this will go into the stock one. I'm gonna cut off the piece that's a little rough, and then this is a 1/4 silicone hose, and then 11mm clamps. This will be cut down, this will go here, and then this will thread into the stock hose line. Also waiting for a new O-ring. This got a little worn out here because of probably the install and uninstalling. So shout out to Boomba Racing for sending me a new one. And we'll look to install these two pieces once I get this missing part. And we'll also install the battery cover that is housing the AFE Scorcher. So we'll see how these mod improvements help the car. So stay tuned. So just opened the box from the old charge pipe. The video should have gone live now, but I went to AFE for R&D and they did a new charge pipe. And so this pipe has the spot where the blow-up valve would attach to. So they actually probably replaced it with their own hoses and hardware, because these were the existing OEM mounts that just bolt up with the Boomba blow-up valve. So now that I see the OEM one, this is actually a little too big. Here's where it was looking a little rough, but now that I see it, the actual inside of it is a silicone hose, so probably wouldn't have mattered getting this hose or not, but still worth a shot. So let's see what AFE had done and replaced it with, and might not need to use this, and we'll just need to wait for the O-ring. So here's the new O-ring, and here's the old one that was snapped in half. So it looked like when they were installing the charge pipe, AFE did replace the hose and screws. I was able to use my socket wrench with an Allen head here. Also looking to reappropriate the hose clamp just for more reassurance on the blow-up valve. Here's the intake with the brass fittings, and the blow-up valve is installed. Definitely a pain in the ass though. So what I did was I used the stock OEM bolts at the top because it was easier for me to get my 10mm wrench in there. And then for the bottom, I actually used the AFE screws because I could get my socket wrench in there easier. So sort of a mix and match, but more so because it's easier for me to install. Again, don't have a lift, but it is such a pain to get this blow-up valve on and off the car. So. Look what just came in. So off camera, I went and tested to make sure that the thing connected to the battery terminal still. We had to plug this hole here. This was a collapsible piece on the original part, but in order to get the carbon fiber on layered more nice and even, we had to close it here. So I did test it. When I do want to take it off, it still works, but we'll have to grab it from this edge here and just make sure that the clip side is pulled apart and then lift up. So I do have to add the holes back in to get the side mounts. I just didn't drill big enough, but not a big deal. We'll see how everything looks mocked up. Got the side holes drilled. Not sure if it'll show up on camera, but holes are drilled. So the carbon fiber layer, add a little bit of thickness here. So these kind of aren't seating where I want it to be, but luckily we have some longer screws. It's mostly on this side, so probably gonna go with this bolt here, and we'll see how that turns out. So didn't want to have too much 3M just because it defeats the purpose of having the box so that this wasn't 3M, but because we had to plug this out, couldn't open this port anymore like you saw previously, so decided to 3M tape the controller so that if I do take the lid off, here again, here it is hidden, you take it off, I can then still have access to pressing the different modes here. Not the most elegant, I wish it was mounted somehow, but at least it's like 3M here, it should be easy to remove. Cleaned it up a bit. Again, you know, trying to get this as tight as possible. I wish there was another mount here, but still, I don't think anything's gonna be floating around, and then I'll have to zip tie the rest of this in the car, so stay tuned. Here it is all zip tied, tucked in tight as much as I can. So we'll start it up and set it to red before we close the cover. Also, let's hope it doesn't throw any cones. And sorry for the neighbors. It's a little bit late and we're gonna do a cold start. Hey, hope you like this video. I know it was a long one, and I know it was mostly me just rambling and trying to figure things out as I went along. I didn't really have a format for this video, so if you made it this far, thank you, and drop a panda emoji in the comments so I know you made it this far in the video. As far as the cover, I love how it turned out. Shout out to Adam over at DZ Customs for keeping me updated and honest on what was possible for laying the carbon fiber on the cover. He told me, you know, it was a pain, a little bit of a pain because of all the curvatures and the way that the cover is laid out. So shout out again, I thought it came out amazing. Hit him up if you want some carbon fiber work done. Again, also the purpose for the cover wasn't necessarily to cover the piggyback tune, as it was just to have a sort of cleaner install, a little bit something more elegant solution than what I had before, and I think I accomplished that. So thumbs up. Also, just want to say I use the word fabrication in the loosest sense. I'm not an expert by any means, so I hope no one gets offended. I'm sure that there are better solutions or better people to sort of create things like this, so I don't want to take anything away from that or away from them. Again, it was just me sort of finding random things on the internet and what I had laying around. Could have been done better, 100%, but still proud of how it came out and how it looks, and yeah. So as far as the intake hose and the fittings, I thought those came out great as well. They're much sturdier, so I can't mess anything up now this time for installing and uninstalling the intake. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Mike at K&N and Boomba Racing for sending over the part replacements that you saw in the video. Also, shout out to Kenny over at AFE and the team there for sort of replacing the hardware. Excuse me. It's just awesome to have support and to be in contact with such amazing brands. Hope you like this video. It was definitely a long one, so leave a comment, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do a little chicken dance, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.